In this episode of the Texas Private School Podcast, Warriors and Lions clash as one of the top three will have to fall. Will St. Thomas disrupt the narrative of Northern dominance, or will the voice of reason force a reckoning? Is this the moment for Gigliotta and Fort Worth Christian to throw off the chains of their oppressors, or do the Saints keep marching? The toughest team west of the Mississippi will try to end the narrative that Regents' offense is unstoppable, and Knights and Eagles will do battle to see who earns the right to survive. All this and more in the round two preview of the Texas Private School Podcast. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. I, as always, am one-third of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson, joining you from Dallas, Texas. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder join me from College Station and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, respectively. Gentlemen, we keep continually slowly marching towards the peak of the mountain. We are now, what is that? We are now 2/4, almost half of the way up. I can't do fractions apparently, but we are close to the ultimate goal of Waco, Texas, which is just an objectively hilarious thing to be your ultimate goal, but that's how it's always been. All that being said, Walker, we have some of the best matchups. Two of these are games that could be state title games in the second round of the playoffs. I cannot express how excited I am to cover this, to bring coverage to this great sport. Your thoughts on a beautiful slate this upcoming week?
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. I think all five of these matchups we're going to talk about are going to be good ones. I'm really excited for all of these. I think these are going to be in some instances really really close. In some instances, a really good game that I think one team extends by 14 in the end, right? But like at the end of the day, these are some heavyweight matchups we're going to have this week. And if this was like a boxing card, man, everyone would have been jam packed in Madison Square Garden to watch these teams fight it out. I was so close to making that perfect, but it was just
It
couldn't get
was
it
it was
done.
it was almost flawless, and this is either horseshoes or hand grenades, so we'll count almost.
Yeah.
Ryan Schroeder, same question to you. We are it's an incredible week in Texas private school football. Like Walker said, I mean, there's a lot of weeks, especially in the middle of the season, where we get two good games, and the other three we're like, well, we all know who we're going to choose before we even pick the game. But I feel like these five games, you could truly go on most of them either way. Your thoughts on a beautiful slate in front of us?
Yeah, as we get deeper in the playoffs, we're gonna start having some of these games. I honestly think that this week, next week, I mean, you're gonna start seeing games all these weeks up until the state championship that could be state title contending level games. Both y'all just said. I mean, I'm super excited for this slate. I think there's some games in here like both y'all said where like it could be very close, and then some of them will slip to be a little bit bigger margins. But I mean, we could see upsets here. We could see a lot this week, so I'm excited.
I am as well. And we're going to start with a game that I don't think is one that we think a team's going to extend on. Prestonwood Christian at Liberty Christian. Friday night, two old foes, best on best, two of the top coaches in the sport, new contenders trying to break through and establish themselves as a dynasty. Witten, Yantis, Glass, Murphy, Pettijohn, Violi, Niffen, McCamey, two enter, one leaves. It's playoff time in Texas. Liberty has continued the momentum off of their state title season in 2024, a 5-1 district record with the only blemish being the 56-28 shellacking at the hands of Parrish, in which they surrendered 370 passing yards. In their last matchup against Prestonwood, Quinn Murphy dealt for 340 yards and 4 touchdowns as the sophomore Graham Nixon exploded for 160 yards. However, they had Cooper Witten for their defensive reps in that one, as he was all over the contest with 15 tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 3 hurries, and 2 passes deflected. They have since lost their captain, in which they suffered the Parrish loss and only narrowly beat Legacy 31-27. That said, I'm still very high on the machine that Liberty has built, and Quinn, McCamey, Nixon, Violi, Buckhalter, and Etta are going to be coming for blood since they weren't awarded that first round bye. That is going to be a massive benefit for Prestonwood. The ability to essentially take a breather after a gauntlet of a district slate is invaluable. And I'm curious to see how William Taylor will be able to move behind that monstrous offensive line, especially without Cooper Witten beating down on them. You factor in Glass having another great season, Junior Niffen stepping into that Gunnar Nivar role, Gio Darasol emerging as a threat, AJ Morial getting to pay dirt, Cam and Kaylor Pettijohn blowing up the middle, Eddie Brownstein wrecking shop. Are the signs pointing to the Lions? Yeah, they are. They're pointing Prestonwood in this game. As recently, and I know Walker's putting his hand there because you're waiting to see if the other shoe's going to fall and me like do some roundabout thing.
Yeah,
I'm not.
it's
I'm
gonna be
picking.
some voice of reason part two.
That's a one-time thing. I don't reuse old tricks. All that being said is I really do like Prestonwood in this spot. And I know just 4 short weeks ago, I was like, if I had to pick now, I'm taking Liberty to win the state championship. Well, Cooper Witten was playing on both sides of the ball in that regard. And I know and it's also going against me saying, listen, it's the machine, the machine, the machine. One guy can go down, they can put someone else in. Well, I mean, no slight to Legacy. Legacy's a great team, but they only beat them by 4 without Cooper Witten. And I know they got the other guys back. I'm all this to say, I think the first round bye helps Prestonwood a lot after a wear and tear filled season to get everyone at least on the same page, rested and recuperated. I just feel like Liberty hasn't quite looked the same since Cooper went down. I don't ever think one guy makes a team. I just think with all the things in front of us right now, I think Preston has a great shot to win this game, and I'm going to take them. Walker Lott, this is still going to be incredibly closely contested, but who are you siding with in this matchup?
Dude, this is yeah. That's a good pick, man. Makes it off the top some excitement. Yeah, I think you say one person matters, but when a guy is doing on things like he does all season on both sides of the ball, it absolutely matters. Like having not having Cooper win this matchup is huge. Um, but can Quinn Murphy do it? He's one of the most experienced guys in this entire state. He's made it to what? 2 out of his 3 years so far has made it to a state title and won one of them. Like made it to the semifinals in his freshman year. Is he never going to get back to a semifinals in his 4 years? No, I think he's going to make it to the semifinals. Give me the Liberty Christian in this one. I think he's going to will themselves to a title game. Prestonwood, I think, is a very, very good team. They've been battle tested. You didn't even talk about just not the district, but St. Thomas at the end of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a solid, solid team, and I think they're, you know, hot coming into this game, and they have time to kind of steady those coals in this past week with a bye. But I think Liberty's pissed off about that a little bit, and I think it's going to be an exciting game for them. To be honest, without a quarterback over there at St. Pius, it was basically a bye anyways. I think they're coming in. I think they're coming in ready to go. Give me Liberty Christian.
Ryan Schroeder, for the first time and as long as I can remember, we are 1-1 heading into the final deciding vote. Where are you going in Liberty versus Prestonwood?
Yeah, I mean, man, it's so hard because Prestonwood has been such a weird team this year. The first Liberty game would have you think that this game is going to be some sort of a two-score type, almost closer to I don't even know. From just the Bishop Lynch game the week before and that Liberty game, I was riding so low on Prestonwood going into Legacy game, and then they kind of showed out against Legacy, and then they had a close loss with Parrish. So I've been up and down on them. But after two good wins, as well as a huge win over St. Thomas last week, I'm kind of riding in the same boat as you, Wes. Seeing as both the Pettijohn brothers are elite playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, you have so much offensive firepower in AJ Morial, in Luke Glass, there's so many other guys on that offensive side. There's the tight end. I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head at the moment too. Like, legitimately, I love Prestonwood's offense. I think they have a set of playmakers on the defense that keep them elite. They're in stride now, and yeah, I agree. Liberty is a different team without Cooper Witten. I don't think anyone's going to disagree on that. So I'll side with you, Wes. Give me Prestonwood, which is crazy because I would have not said that at all maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago. But I'm in a different position at this point.
Well, that's disappointing to me because I was at least hoping that I would go into a home game at Liberty having picked against them, but at least two of us picked them. So now that the majority of the podcast has picked against them, and should they win that game, which they're very capable of, I might die. Jaden and I might die.
Yeah,
You just
no,
killed
you
Jaden.
might. No, you might.
Congratulations, Ryan. You
Yeah,
killed Jaden.
my fault.
All that being said, it's going to be incredibly fun. I'm looking forward to it. We're now going to stay in Division One and move to another game, which is going to be Legacy at St. Thomas, where St. Thomas is a 20.5 point favorite via Massey ratings, not TXPS. In what might be the ultimate test of North versus South, Legacy will travel down to St. Thomas to try and oust the Kings of the South. St. Thomas had a perfect district slate, 5-0 with an average margin of victory of 35 points, the only close game being a 20-15 win over Concordia. Ray Davis's defense has been ferocious behind 21 tackles for loss and 9 sacks from monster Duke commit Obina Ume. The offense has been solid behind 25 touchdowns from junior Pierce Jacobson, 11 from Javon Waldron, and 8 from Miles Stewart, and also 8 from wide receiver Nate Tidwell. The issue is the discrepancy between North and South was already shown with a 45-17 beating St. Thomas took at the hands of Prestonwood, which we just mentioned. However, Legacy also lost to Prestonwood by 26, but they were within 4 of Liberty, who beat Prestonwood by 14. The transitive property is not your friend here. Don't try and look too deeply into that. They also just shoved St. Michael's into a wood chipper 52-9, which St. Thomas also beat 46-6. So all signs point to this being a close game. And I'm on record many times as saying, ceteris paribus, I am taking the North over the South. That mantra does not change here. I think the voice of reason is legit one of the best players in the state, and we will leave his mark on this game. Sam Jones, Luke Lawrence, Ladd, Bays, Womack, and Edwards are primed to make a statement win, move on to the playoffs. Walker, I really don't know if this is obvious or not here. And I'm not saying that like I think it should be. Like you look at this, and on one hand, these two teams seem pretty evenly matched outside of St. Thomas being the 1 seed and Legacy being the 5. But also, it feels like St. Thomas should be a favorite, maybe. I mean, the computer thinks so at a 20.5 point spread, but I just feel like following the sport as long as we do, knowing the North is always better than the South, I feel like it could be a close game, especially with the way that Legacy played against Liberty, even Sans Cooper Witten. I feel like you have to be crazy not to take them here.
Yeah, I think Legacy is a really solid team. I like their offensive line. I think that's maybe where they have the edge, right? I think for St. Thomas, they'll be the second best offensive line they've played all year, and taps behind, of course, Prestonwood. Jude Womack returning is huge. I think that he returned last week. I think that's a huge, huge part of this. Um, I think it comes down to if you can contain Sam Jones. If you can contain Sam Jones on line at the linebacking and the linebacker role, make him have a lot of misdirection and not be able to affect plays. And on the running back kind of athlete side, can you contain him on offense? That's kind of where this game is kind of come down to. Because I think honestly, skill position wise, I think I'll give the edge to St. Thomas here. I think I would, honestly. I think the running back duo is better. I like the guys at the DB spots. Nate Tidwell is going to be the best receiver in this game. And they have to come down to H-Town, and I'm wearing the hat. How could I not? Give me St. Thomas in this one as well. I think this is going to be I'm going to be the one person away from this one and by myself in the pick. But I think they have to come down to Houston and beat a talented, talented St. Thomas team. I think the St. Thomas team with a bye is ready to go, and they're going to bring a physicality that is needed to win this one. St. Thomas is, of course, the only team that has really been able to beat a team from the North in the past couple of years, and I think this doesn't stop now. Give me St. Thomas.
Hopefully, they can channel the energy of Dante Lewis and Johan Cardenas of past and really I don't really. The thing is, I said hopefully, but I don't want them to because I picked Legacy. I do want them to because I want this to be a close game. Ryan, it's all very confusing. You being an alumni of Legacy Christian, I feel like the pick has to be locked in here, but I do still have to ask. In a game, North versus South, two seemingly even teams, although one's a 1 seed and one's a 5 seed. Where are we going here? To the man from Legacy Christian.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna obviously pick Legacy here, but I want to just make it abundantly clear that like this game will be very close, and there's a reason why St. Thomas is the number one team in the South and Legacy finished fifth in the North. Like Legacy has losses this year. They've lost to every team above them in every capacity, and like even the Bishop Lynch game and stuff like that too. Like they are not better than the 4 teams that are above them, and I think that anyone will tell you that. Even the 7 point game against Legacy, Legacy is below those teams. However, when St. Thomas is going to go out and like I just I think I'm at a point now where I know how good Prestonwood is compared to that St. Thomas team, and I know where St. Thomas is kind of at as a team right now. They're the best of the best in the South, but that really just doesn't mean a lot in the grand scheme of things with how D1's set up. The South is just clearly a lot worse than the North. And man, I don't know. I really cannot pick against my alma mater, and I won't because they obviously beat Antonian last year. So it'd be dumb to do that, seeing as now Luke Lawrence is a senior. Sam Jones is incredible. They have so many other playmakers on. They have probably one of the best kickers in the state in Jack Drygis. Like, and I don't promote kickers that often, so that's when you know I'm being serious. All that being said, I just Legacy's going to win this game, but it's going to be really, really close. And I would not be surprised at all if Houston comes out of their own if St. Thomas comes out of their own side in Houston and continues to see the winner of that Prestonwood Liberty game next week.
I definitely so. It'll be fun. It'll be the perfect litmus test for North versus South, just to actually see if the 5 seed out of the North is better than the 1 seed out of the South. Then that might just
Which
solidify the theory.
that'd be insane. And
It would be
I
insane.
guess it kind of happened last year, but it's just like that's insane to think about.
It could be. I mean, they're the 5 seed, but they almost just went out and beat the 2 seed. Again, like I said, it's all very confusing. Anyone that I feel like if anyone tried to start following like all these races, if they were just like dropped into it at the end of the season, their head would explode because mine already almost is. And we've covered this ad nauseum for 5 years straight. I've stopped pretending to know things. Like I said, I just talk into a microphone and things happen around me. All that being said, some things certainly will be happening in the first Division 2 game we're going to cover, which is Fort Worth Christian versus All Saints, where All Saints are 24.5 point favorites. This game will be at Mustang Panther Stadium in Grapevine on Friday. Here we go again. I'm going to say this off rip now. Shout out to Jack Fowler. Adam Burns made it very clear that whenever I say and company after their offensive line, that is Jack Fowler. He is and company. So shout out to you, Jack. That said, this is the 7th time these teams have faced off in the last 4 seasons. All Saints is 6-0. This is Ashford and the Cardinals seniors' last and likely best chance to overthrow the yoke of the oppressor Saints. Here's why they can win. Lanny Gigliotta is playing his best football, absolutely decimating Hyde Park behind a 42-point explosion. He has Bo Pearson, Luke Robinson, and Jack Garza at his disposal. Case and Anding running behind one of the best lines in the state. They've got the best player on the field in Tucker Ashford. They've got the linebacking core behind Williams and Meichner. And more importantly, they know they can win. This team holds the belief in the swagger they can walk into any stadium and take it over. And I'm going to repay their favor to me in beating Hyde Park to retain my condo by picking All Saints to win this game. Listen, I Fort Worth Christian, I love you, but it's All Saints. I feel like there should be some sort of mean reversion here that All Saints can't just continue to beat Fort Worth Christian perpetually into eternity. There's got to be some line somewhere. It ain't going to be this year. I think quarterback might be the one spot where it's questionable just because Landon Gigliotta is so good and Gavin Beard's also so good. Like maybe we call that a draw. The receiving core, I think, is better for All Saints behind Jaden Bryles, Gabe Starling, Hudson Rezor, Gabe Starling. I think the offensive line is better. I think the defensive line is better. I think the linebacking core is
Whoa.
better.
I
I
don't know
think
if
the
you
DBs are better.
I don't think you can say off rip defensive line's better. I think there's
Well, because Burns isn't playing, you said a whole lot on the defensive line, Walker.
Only when you absolutely need him to.
Yeah, I think behind Cade Colson, behind Ryan Powers, behind I think who's
dude,
Adam
Tucker
Gerhard.
Ashford is not gonna like that you're
Gerhard.
saying this.
No, I agree. Who's the other guy that I'm forgetting on the defensive line?
Oh, the new transfer, you mean?
No, that's Colson. It's the OG from last year that played with Powers. I don't know. That's why I script
Oh,
things
Kingston
out.
Bayer.
Kingston Byers, of course. Thank you. Again,
Oh
I
wait,
think
that's a huge name.
yeah,
Gotta
it
rep.
is a huge name. In aggregate, I think it's a better unit. Tucker Ashford's the best player on the field. All that being said, at this point, I've stopped fearing things with Fort Worth Christian. If it happens, if they win, I've seen this movie 100 times. They're going to eviscerate me. It's okay. I'm not wagering anything on this game. Walker, I just think that I think two things can be true. The first is that Fort Worth Christian had the hype this year and had the team to back it up, in my opinion, unlike past years. However, All Saints is in a different stratosphere. That's my take. I'm curious if you're on the same wavelength.
I think this my bold take is I think this Fort Worth Christian team is better than Midland Christian. And I think they should have had that number 2 seed in this year. Um, and that's my predicament. I think this team is really, really good, but we haven't seen them play their best football, right? We're Midland Christian. Against Midland Christian up in Midland, they really didn't play it. And when you play All Saints, it's hard to play your best football. So you have to be, Fort Worth Christian has to be playing their best football against All Saints Episcopal in this matchup. And I just don't think that happens. I think All Saints runs away with it, and I just can't. It's like betting against the Patriots with Brady there, or like when Chiefs and Mahomes in the playoffs. Like it's hard to beat against them, right? And I can't bet against them now, right? So give me All Saints. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I think for a half, it's gonna be like a 7 point game. I just think in the third half or second half. Golly,
The
we're
elusive, the rare third half.
the rare third half, man. Gosh, the season's gotten to me, man. Yeah, give me All Saints. I just think they pull away in the second half and they go and meet another team we'll talk about in a second in the semifinals.
That we will. Ryan Schroeder, before we get to that semifinal matchup, do you think either Fort Worth All Saints or Fort Worth Christian will be moving on to do battle with what we're assuming will be Regents?
Yeah, I'm defending Tucker Ashford, but at the end of the day, it's like you're exactly right. All Saints is the caliber of team. They are the best team in all private school by any regard. They beat the top of the top to start the season and the non-district slate. They've gone through their entire district schedule with only a scared at TCS Lubbock, and I
Which
would
is so insane, by the way. I think we look over that too much.
we
That's
no, no,
insane.
no, no, no. We know what happened. We know what happened. We know what happened. So that's we can't. We're not going to just spew lies. We know what happened. But even with that being said, that's crazy that happened. And all that to be said, All Saints is about to go undefeated back-to-back years if they can win this championship as well this year. And Forward Christian is just not going to be the team that stops them along their path. You have the team that has a better chance of stopping along their path. They'll face next week if they win their game, which I think they will as well. Um, all has to be said, All Saints by 20 in this game against Forward Christian. Sadly.
Interesting.
Again, we don't have to put spreads on the. I mean, we don't have to put our
No,
spreads on these
I
things.
genuinely don't because I like Gigliotta. I like Ashford. I like this team. Bro, I love this team. But no, it's All Saints. Like what? Quick, you
I
know.
agree with that. I do feel like this is obviously the safest one for us all to be on one side of. And again, I can hear that in a clip that's posted by Fort Worth Christian's athletic department after the game. I'm just hedging my bets now. Again, I do think it'll be fun. It's just All Saints is a wagon. I don't know what else you can say. Speaking of wagons, we're going to stay in Division 2 for the second playoff game that we're going to cover from there. That is going to be Midland versus Regents. Regents will be 20.5 point favorites in San Angelo Stadium. In a showdown featuring West Texas Grit versus Austin Electricity, freshman Franco and the Mustangs will clash with Divine and the Knights in the cowtown of San Angelo. I've seen the Mustangs several times this year, and that team is impressive. Brady Young and Coy Hayes are two of the toughest players in the state at linebacker and running back. You've also got Isaiah Matthews and Caden Bishop ripping off the edge with 15 and 5 sacks, respectively. Jackson Franco looks like one of the best quarterbacks in his class, and with a super weapon like Caleb Cruz on both sides of the ball, the Mustangs are a tough out. But they're facing off against the team that we said is the number one threat to All Saints in the division. A team with a 3,000-yard passers, 59 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Wide receivers in Millington, Novi, and Smith, where two of them are almost at 1,000 receiving yards. A freshman back who is rising to the top of his class. A defense led by Nippa, Prater, Angelo, and Rob that is allowing only 16 points per game. The only thing you can say here is that Midland has been tested immensely more than Regents in district play, which is undoubtedly true. But I just think it's too much. The more I see of this Regents team, the more I think they can legitimately go out and win a state title. Walker, the more that I see, the more that I think is it's not just All Saints, All Saints, All Saints. It's All Saints and Regents. I really, really do think that there is a really good chance this is the best offense in the state. I mean, you look at Jack Devine's stat line, which I didn't fully clock until I started scripting the episode. 3,000 yards passing, 59 total touchdowns, not a single interception. And yes, I understand that part of that is because their district is bad, but Brook Hill's not a terrible team. You've also got, they played Kincaid in non-district.
Speaking of that, Midland had a rough time with Brook Hill last week. I mean,
Exactly.
so
So again, that's my exact point. I mean, you read the tea leaves, and again, I want to reiterate that is a transitive property that we've gotten burned many times using.
yes, absolutely.
But it's the only tea leaves we have to read at this point in time. All that being said, Walker, I'm taking Regents here. I feel like this is kind of a similar situation to All Saints Fort Worth Christian, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, we saw this last year, right? Where um Midland Region San Angelo Part 2, basically, right? This is the same matchup last year, and Regis came out on top. This is a fun one. I think this is for Regents, right? This is the second best defense, maybe first. Best, I'm gonna know second best defense they'll face all year behind Kincaid because Larnett's a wizard. But even in that matchup, they broke out of this spell that this Kincaid defense always casts on opposing teams, and they were the only one of those teams that stopped a good Kincaid offense this year, right? And I locked down every other defense. I think for Midland, this is going to be the best defense outside of Fort Worth All Saints that they have played all year. I think this team is legit. They have pieces all the way all around. They're going to be the best coach team probably Midland's faced all year. And I mean, come on, come on, like we're going to do this one instead. Give me Regents. Give me the Knights. And yeah, Regents 20 and a half, I think is a little too much, but give me 14. I think Jack Devine is playing at an all-time level this year. And I just don't think it slows down. I think we're poised for a matchup in McGregor between Regents and All Saints in this semifinal matchup.
No, I think all of that is absolutely true. Ryan, the curious thing for me is I like the Midland defense a lot, and I think the best way to try and stop Regents is to just get the truck stuck in the mud, get the tires spinning, the mud flying everywhere. And I think that Midland can do that, but it would be outside of All Saints the hardest team they try to do that again, and All Saints clearly proved it was no problem as they just rolled them. I think Regents' offense is on par with that. From where I'm sitting, which is not always the greatest vantage point, I don't see that happening here. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I just said it a second ago. Regents is the team that can beat All Saints. They are the caliber of team that is going undefeated. I think right now it's just them two and TWCA that are undefeated in D2 right now, and they're undefeated for a reason. Regents is a top dog, and they beat a lot of teams around the state regardless of division. They beat some D1 teams as well. They are the highest caliber team. This is the best Regents team we've ever seen. And although Midland has had a great year this year, obviously finishing second in that district, uh, you're running into the fist of what is Austin Regents. You're running into Jack Levine, Blake Smith, Kate Cropholler. You're running into an absolute unit that is Austin Regents. With all that being said, so yeah, this Friday at 1 o'clock at San Angelo Stadium, give me Regents. And you said not to put scores on it. I'm gonna scarily put a crazy score on this one. Why are you
Because we
24,
don't need to, and
24,
it's just
24,
fine.
24.
You're clip farming.
24. 24 points Regent's going to win by. Give me two Jack Devine to Blake Smith touchdowns and give me another one. Give me another Jack Devine to Crop Hauler and then Jack Devine to Jack Devine's going to have four passing touchdowns in this contest.
Crop hauler.
Cade?
That's
Or
that's
Christian,
for
buddy.
Christian.
Oh, sorry, not Crop Hauler.
Millington.
Millington, Cade Millington. Sorry.
I'm going to go with one to the elder Millington and one to the younger Millington. And
That's
Walker,
good.
did you say that? Did you say Blake Smith's youngest brother is in high school yet, or
Oh
is he
my
coming through the
gosh.
pipeline?
He's a freshman at whatever.
Is he dressing out for varsity?
He caught a couple passes in the second half against SES.
The youngest Zach Smith is catching a touchdown this game as well.
No,
We're
he's
just we're
not. No, he's not.
He is, and I'm putting. Oh, Brandon Brunson's going to kill us. All that being said, we think Midland's going to win. We think Regents is going to beat Midland in this game. Keep an eye. I mean, I would take a look at the game midway through the second quarter. If it's a slugfest, then you're like, all right, this actually might be close. If Regents has already put up like 28 points, kiss it goodbye. It's gone. All that being said, we're going to move into the final game that we're going to cover on this program. An incredibly fun one. This is the game that we thought should have been either a state title or a semifinal matchup, but because of some, I don't know, some earpieces or something of that nature, we're getting it in the second round. This is Holy Cross versus Lubbock Christian, where the Eagles of Lubbock are 12.5-point favorites at McMurray Stadium in Abilene. Shout out to Coach Wash. In our final game of the slate, we will see a matchup that I would have expected in the semifinals. Holy Cross versus Lubbock Christian. We came into the year with question marks about both of these squads, which have since turned into periods. Barring the forfeits, which is a whole nother can of worms, Holy Cross blitzed district play and showed that even with massive losses to graduation, the goal from the boys from 426 North San Felipe remains constant. The Knights are tough and make their money on the ground, averaging 236 yards per game behind senior workhorse Taylor Flores with 1,225 and sophomore Rocky Orozco with 661. Orozco has also thrown for 26 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions in an efficient sophomore campaign, as senior Julian Salas and sophomore Crew Hudson have emerged as his top receiving targets with 11 and 9 touchdowns respectively. The defense is also stout behind Ybarra, Flores, and Wega, but Lubbock Christian is just a machine. Jason Fleming at quarterback throwing darts to Keaton Lee, who has over 1,000 receiving yards and 15 touchdowns. Day Atkins running over everyone and then stonewalling opposing backs on the defensive side. Kamal Atkins lurking the middle and disrupting everything. Even with the loss of Welker Horn, this team is 9-1 and averaging 54 points per game in district play while allowing under 19. The question is Jason Fleming's status. He suffered a high ankle sprain, we were told, on Halloween versus Pantego. That bye week round one is likely important because it would have given Fleming a week to rest and recuperate, but sprains are tricky things. Even if he cannot go, senior wide receiver Jace Jackson has stepped in at quarterback and has looked more than adequate. But I'm curious whether we get the Holy Cross team that beat Central, who just took Lynch down to the wire, or if we get the one that got their doors blown off by First Baptist. And it's just that level of volatility makes it really hard for me to pick a team. Lubbock Christian has been even. They've been steady. Throughout the entire year, they played a pretty tough non-district slate out in West Texas. They went through, even with their districts much better, especially with teams like Colleyville Covenant, who they beat handedly. It's not the pick, though. Pick's Holy Cross. I'm channeling the energy from last year. That
Wow.
mariachi band must be in Waco, Texas on December the 5th or whenever the game is. All that being said, I looked at the Lake Country game. They beat them by about equal scores. There's just something about Holy Cross that I love. I can't put my finger on it. It's probably Jacob Bermudez. That's probably the underlying factor here. All that being said is they play with a swagger and a grit that it's hard not to root for them. Even if they're one of the top three favorites in their division, there's an underdog capacity that comes with them everywhere. It's hard for me not to like. I think the margin between these teams is razor thin. I think they're both incredibly good, incredibly close. I just I like the underdog edge, even though they're the ones that maybe cheated. They're taking that as a slight against them. I mean, I can't help but love it for all those reasons. 426 North San Felipe, Walker Lott, give me Holy Cross.
Wow.
Wow.
Um, you see that I will say having a DC Holy Cross Part 3 in the state championship would be a lot of fun. I will give you that. But ain't no way it's happening. Give me Lubbock Christian
Oh,
in this one. I think
ain't no
you'll
way.
Ain't no way. I think Lubbock Christian is going to come with a vengeance this year. They want to get back to the state title game. They haven't been to this title game, I believe, in Division Three so far, and they want to make a statement this year. They have the pieces to do it. Keaton Lee is a senior. They have so many pieces along the board. The Atkins brothers are legit.
They are.
I think it's Lubbock Christian in this one. I think it's going to be a good one, though. If we lived anywhere near Abilene, I would have sent someone. Oh, we will have someone on site. Allie Meyer will be taking photos and coverage for us at this game. So shout out to her, one of our amazing photographers that we've had part of the team here and there. And so she's going to be on site. We're excited for this one. I mean, like I said on I think the recap last episode, if I was a coach in Abilene, whether I was at Hardin Simmons, McMurray, or Abilene Christian University, be at that game because you're going to have guys on both sides of the ball that can go play on the collegiate level, and you definitely want them on your football team.
No, you absolutely do. Ryan Schroeder, in terms of the game being played there, part of the reasoning is I don't know what Fleming's status is. And I know that they're going to be fine with guys like Day Atkins, Keaton Lee, etc. And Jace Jackson looked adequate when he stepped in against Trinity Willow Park. I think he threw at least 3 touchdowns. But it's again with two teams that are already this close, you take one thing away from Lubbock Christian, that one thing might be their best player. It's hard for me to side with them. All that being said, which way are you swinging here?
Man, he was just so elite when we saw him play in person, Wes. It's hard, but it's also like anyone can throw the ball to Keaton Lee, right? Like I would like to think that as well. I also think but by the way, Coach Softly, regardless of division, is one of the best young coaches in all of TXPS, and that's actually you cannot argue that. I feel like him and Lavorne are on the same level of just like creating this dynasty at the smaller level. And I'm super excited to see what he continues to do with them. Um, Lubbock. With that being said, though, I can't, dude. I just really Jacob Bermudez. Do not listen to this part, but like I don't want to choose Holy Cross because I feel like that's against everything I've been saying about how good Lubbock Christian is. Screw it. Give me Lubbock Christian. Give me Lubbock Christian, and you're going to give me Lubbock Christian because Softly will make do with whatever he's got, and they still have dogs all over the field. Adkins, Keaton Lee, anybody else. Fleming will be back in the state championship game. We're already going to book that on there. Um, yeah, give me Lubbock Christian, man. Come on, man. Holy Cross. Got to travel on up to Abilene. Lubbock Christian's going to meet you right there, and This is going to be a great game. It's going to be such an amazing game. But give me Lubbock Christian in a tight one.
Let's take a saunter down memory lane to the last time that two people on this program picked against Holy Cross and one person did. I don't remember who exactly picked which, but I'm pretty sure I took the Knights in the Holy Bowl last year, and that was the start of the run.
Hey, but
And I think
do you remember a time in the state championship of last year
no,
where we all picked Holy
no,
Cross and they let us tremendously down?
they did not let us tremendously down. They fought their butts off and they came up just short,
Because
even if they might have been using an in-ear communication device that gave them an advantage.
because
I didn't say that. No context did.
because there was a guy named Luke Carney who just took over on all accounts, dude.
I just
Luke Carney playing one side of the ball that game, that's Holy Cross's game. He plays one side of the
That's
ball.
so crazy. That's
He,
so
he,
crazy. The
he just
quarterback
played
playing DB won them the game.
or safety or whatever he played in that game.
Right.
Yeah, no, literally legit, dude. That Holy Cross last year was legit. This isn't the same team though. This is not the same
No,
team.
it's not the same team,
You
but
could
they've still proven that they're good. That running game's really, really good. And I didn't
Yes.
realize Orozco's only thrown like a couple interceptions. I honestly thought he had thrown more. It's going to be interesting, not to get too much in the X's and O's, but how much they're going to trust the sophomore to air it out. I mean, the guys like Crew Hudson and Salas are good. We're going to see.
uh,
Um,
this is the only thing I was gonna say. You could argue all three of those teams got worse this year, in my
yeah,
I
opinion.
would say I
Because
would say
yeah,
Holy
sorry,
Cross
go on.
definitely got worse. I
Yes,
mean, but like I still think they're a really good team. Don't get me wrong. I just think you
yeah,
lost five, six, seven, eight guys. I didn't want to end it there. That like legitimately could have played college football.
yes.
And Lubbock Christian lost
Welker,
one of the
yes,
best to ever do it at their high school.
yes.
But I still think Jason Fleming is still a dang good football player. I think he's very, very good. And if he's playing, I think that's what's going to win him the game. Yes, high ankle sprains or whatever, but in a basically you win this, you make the state championship.
And the
You
third team,
don't miss that game. Like with
yeah.
everything you have, you don't miss that football game.
And the third team, Dallas Christian got worse too.
Yeah, I would say
they
so.
did just because Carney's gone. I mean, obviously
And
Titus
Baker,
Muse
the
was
offensive
good, and
tackle's gone,
yeah.
and like I think yes, but like Wes always says, you get guys that are a little get some of these guys in, some of these guys who go through the program. DC's always going to have the most physical football team on the field, and
It's pretty easy when you bring in 15 kids from Forney. Now that claim's been disputed, but all that being said, I mean, I think that some of the teams took a step back, but they're all still pretty much on the exact same
Yeah.
footing that they were last year, which makes
Yeah.
it fun. And even with them taking a step back, the talent on those three Division III teams is incredible. I mean, you got guys that'll absolutely play at the next level. It is a treat to be able to cover. All that being said, gentlemen, that actually is the end of our slate for this episode. I told you we were in for a good one. We're all on multiple sides of many games. This is what the playoffs are all about. We will be live and on site on several games on Friday afternoon, as well as our extended arms of coverage across the state. Please keep in touch with our socials at TXPS Media on X and Instagram to see everything that we cover and all the content we get from there. But As for myself, I've been Wes Tolleson. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder have fantastically been themselves. We will see you on Monday evening for the recap of the round two action. See you later.